in, go in, go in, go in, go in, man, go in.
Let's go to the NFC North. Let's talk about the matchup in the NFC between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, as the Chicago Bears are traveling to Green Bay to take on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. The Packers are favored by 6.5 points. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff in Green Bay. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. Oldest rivalry in sports, Bears, Packers. It doesn't get much bigger than this. Both the Bears and Packers are both good football teams this year. And to me, this is the biggest Bears-Packers matchup since like the early 2010s. Like, the Packers have pretty much dominated the Chicago Bears, and the Packers have dominated the Chicago Bears for the most part throughout my entire life. The Packers dominated the Bears during the Brett Favre era. Brett Favre went 23-13 against the Bears. They also dominated the Bears during the Aaron Rodgers era. Aaron Rodgers went 24-5 against the Chicago Bears during his era as well. Remember that one game, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they were in Chicago, in Soldier Field. Rodgers scores a touchdown, and he literally screams at the camera, "I owe you! I owe you!" Yes, the Packers have owned the Bears throughout the years. But this season, I must admit, the Chicago Bears, they have been a different football team because they have won a lot of one-score games. Last year, I remember the Bears, they were in a matchup against the Commanders in Jaden Daniels. I think it was like week 7. The Bears had that game won, and the Commanders won that game on the final play of the game, and the Bears, they never were able to rebound or come back from that loss. Like, they never, ever bounced back, and they ended up not making the playoffs, and they finished last in the NFC North. But they brought in head coach Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson is the former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. And Ben Johnson had a ton of success in Detroit against the Packers, actually. And he's 3-0 against the Packers, I believe, as an offensive coordinator. And he's now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And when I look at the Bears, obviously their quarterback is Caleb Williams. For the season, Caleb Williams, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,722 passing yards, completing only 58% of his passes. But the thing about the Chicago Bears is it's not their passing game that's elite. It's their rushing attack. The Chicago Bears have arguably the best rushing attack in pro football right now. And I watched the game on Black Friday, Bears at Eagles, and I watched the Bears push the Eagles around for 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours, I watched the Bears offensive line dominate the Eagles defensive line, and DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monagame, he had a great performance. I mean, Monagame, he had 22 carries, 130 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Monagame. And the other running back, DeAndre Swift, 18 carries, 125 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. For the game, the Bears outrushed the Eagles 281-87. So it wasn't Caleb Williams and DJ Moore and Rome Odunze in the passing game. It's been their rushing attack with Monagame and Swift. And that's a part of the reason why the Bears are on this winning streak right now. The Bears have won 5 straight games. They haven't lost since week 8. So they are playing some great football right now. And when you look at what they've been able to do since their week 5 bye, Total yards per game. They average 397 yards per game. That's ranked first in the NFL. Rushing yards per game. They average 180 rushing yards per game. That's ranked first in the NFL. They have 73 explosive plays. That's ranked first in the NFL. They have 17 takeaways as a defense. That's ranked first in the NFL. And since their week 5 bye, they are 7-1, and that's the third best record during that span. So they've been balling. And the thing is with the Bears, I'm looking at Ben Johnson. These were Ben Johnson's statistics as a coordinator last year with the Lions in rushing yards per game and explosive plays. Last year with the Lions, Ben Johnson he averaged 154.4 rushing yards per game. That was ranked 4th in the NFL. The Lions had 109 explosive plays. That was ranked 2nd in the NFL. This season, the Bears are averaging 154 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 2nd in the NFL, and they have 102 explosive plays. That's ranked 1st in the NFL. So Ben Johnson and his creativity within the Bears running game is what has the Bears sitting here right now at 9-3, atop of not only the NFC North, but the entire NFC conference. So we got to give credit to Ben Johnson. It seems like Ben Johnson has completely changed the culture in the Windy City. He has. Now that defense leaves a lot to be desired. They are bottom half in a lot of major defensive categories, but they do lead the NFL in takeaways. Now, let's switch gears. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, the Packers, they improved to 8-3-1 after they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, 31-24. And in that particular game, Jordan Love was balling. He had 4 touchdowns. I think his passer rating was like 158 for that game. But I was really impressed with Matt LaFleur because I thought Matt LaFleur was aggressive the entire game against the Lions. And that's what the Packers need as an offense. I don't want the conservative Matt LaFleur. I want the aggressive Matt LaFleur. The Packers were 3 for 3 on 4th down. 2 of those 4th down, 2 of the 3 4th down conversions, the Packers scored touchdowns. 1 to Romeo Doubs and 1 to Dontavius Wicks. And also, Matt LaFleur was aggressive even on the last possession. Last possession, the Packers were up 31-24. They could have punted the football back to the Lions and basically made the Lions drive 90 or 80 yards to try and tie the game up. No, Matt LaFleur wanted to win that game with Jordan Love and his offense. I loved his aggression. 3 for 3 on 4th down. 2 of those 3 4th down conversions being touchdowns. That was the difference in the game. The Lions were 0 for 2 on 4th downs. Packers were 3 for 3. So I love his approach in that week 13 win over the Lions. Now I'm looking at Jordan Love. Jordan Love for the season. 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2,794 passing yards. He's completing 67% of his passes in that particular game against the Lions. Jordan Love on deep passes. He went 4 for 6, 126 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, passer rating 149.3. And in his first 11 games, Jordan Love only had 1 touchdown, 1 interception on deep passes. So I thought Jordan Love did a tremendous job on his deep throws down the field. That pass that he threw up the right sideline to Christian Watson was a beauty. It was a thing of beauty, and it was beautiful to watch as a Packers fan. It was beautiful to watch. But I'm looking at a Jordan Love, and it's Toyota-thon, and usually this is the time of year where Jordan Love takes his game up a notch. This is Jordan Love in his career as a starter, week 11 or later. He's 14-5. He completes 67% of his passes. His touchdown to interception ratio is 34-2, and his passer rating is 110.5. That touchdown to interception ratio and passer rating are the best all time. So Jordan Love, around this time of the year, he takes his game up a notch and to an elite level. And so I love how Jordan Love's performing this season. He's protected the football this season better than he has in prior years. And he only has 3 interceptions. And I don't understand why Jordan Love has this perception like he's this careless quarterback who just turns the football over at an elite rate. That's simply not the case. He's only has 3 interceptions this year. Only 3. And the thing is, the Packers this season, when Jordan Love has 0 turnovers, they're 7-0. When he has 1 turnover or more, they're 1-3-1. So Jordan Love and his ability to protect the football, that is pretty much determined whether or not the Packers win or lose football games. And the thing is, when it comes to this particular matchup, obviously, everyone's talking about the rushing attack with DeAndre Swift and the Bears overall as an offense with their running game. Let me be very clear. The best running back in this game is Josh Jacobs. Now, I know when you look at Josh Jacobs this year, Josh Jacobs has not had a great season according to his standards. 186 carries, 731 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Josh Jacobs has not had a 100-yard game yet this year. But Josh Jacobs is one of the best running backs in pro football. And he is to be respected. So I know the Chicago Bears have an elite rushing attack with Monagmai and Swift. But Josh Jacobs will be the best running back on the field when the Bears-Packers match up at 4:25 p.m. in Lambeau Field. Make no mistake about it. And the Packers have a better defense than the Bears as well. And in this matchup, the Packers are going to get some reinforcements back. They should get back Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden on the offensive side of the ball. They should also get Quay Walker and Carl Brooks back on the defensive side of the ball as well. Now, Jalen Johnson for the Bears, he did return, I believe, last week for the Bears. And so that's going to help the Bears as well. But I believe when you look at these two teams in totality, and the thing is with this matchup also, too, before I get into the prediction part of it, to me, their schedules are interesting because after this matchup, they both play again in Week 16 in Chicago on a Sunday night. The NFL flexed that game. So after this game, though, the Bears, I believe the Bears actually have a more favorable schedule than the Packers do. The Bears finish up with the Packers in Week 14 and Week 16. Week 15, they got the Browns. Week 17, they are in San Francisco against the Niners. And in Week 18, they're against the Lions. But the Lions may be eliminated in that Week 18 matchup. So that game might be meaningless for the Lions. The Packers on the flip side, Bears Week 14 and Week 16. Week 15, they are in Denver against the Broncos. Broncos been having a great season. Week 17, they're home against Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore Ravens. That's a game that's important because the Ravens will need that game to keep pace in the AFC North. And then Week 18, the Packers are in Minnesota against the Vikings. The Vikings are going absolutely nowhere. So both the Bears and the Packers more than likely will go up against the Lions and the Vikings in meaningless Week 18 games where the opposing team doesn't have anything to play for. But I think that the Ravens Week 17 game for the Packers will be tough. The Bears match up against the Niners Week 17 will be tough. But I think the Bears probably will beat the Browns in Week 15. But we'll see. So that's one interesting aspect of this matchup as well. But with all that being said, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, both had ownership of the Chicago Bears. Brett Favre was 23-13 against the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers was 24-5 against the Chicago Bears. And they exchanged ownership with Jordan Love. And Jordan Love is 3-1 against the Chicago Bears so far in his young NFL career. I believe Jordan Love will improve to 4-1 all-time against the Bears in his career. I expect Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, Quay Walker, and Edgerrin Cooper, and Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams to get after Caleb Williams and contain that Bears rushing attack. And I expect Jordan Love and the Packers offense to ball out against a below average Chicago Bears defense. I think the Packers are a more complete football team than the Bears are. I believe Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams currently is. I also believe Josh Jacobs is the best running back on the field, despite how elite that Bears rushing attack has been. And everyone's talking about Ben Johnson as a head coach. Have y'all forgot about who the hell Matt LaFleur is? So I'm rolling with the Packers to beat the Bears in Lambeau on Sunday afternoon. Packers 31, Bears 24. Go, Pack, go!